Thank you for joining me. In this episode, I share my process for creating a bighorn ewe at Capitol Reef National Park. Let me show you what I've got here. Mountain sheep. Western North American mountain sheep. I made everything out of just this styrofoam I get at Lowe's. Some pipe. There's a little piece of plywood inside of here. 4 sheets of foam I stuck together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I carved out the shape of the body. These are just stuck here. See? Like that, right? See, all these are just add-ons that I'm doing. See, it's just I carved the original head and neck shape. I'm just doing all these add-ons with a little more width. This piece, the body, and this floor piece aren't even stuck together with anything. These come right apart. Just pull the wire out and there's nothing there. So I'm going to go through and squirt a little foam in. I'm going to glue all these I'm going to pull all these out. This is about finished. Right now it's supported with just one pipe, so it's already really unstable, and when I put the weight of the clay on, it's going to wreck these legs. Look, see how they're a little flexing? What I'm going to do is put another support in on this side. Yeah, I'll cut the foam, do that, and that'll stabilize this. Now I've got it set there. It's screwed down. Just ran some screws up through the bottom, toenailed one there, and that's the frame to hit, so it's all pretty stable. And then this is just hovering in here right now. See, this is not attached. Just now everything's in place. We'll just squirt some foam in there. That did the trick. Now it's very stable. Before I can put the clay on, I paint glue. After that dries, the clay will adhere to the foam. You can also use paint, but I prefer wood glue. Once I've got it bulked out, I can add texture. I didn't like the size of those horns, so I cut some new ones out of wood and just covered that with clay. If you are enjoying this video, I would ask that you consider subscribing and perhaps leaving a comment or a like. That helps out my channel and efforts here tremendously. Thank you. Okay, this is the mountain sheep, the bighorn ewe. Now, if you remember, the texture was really coarse, and now look, it looks smoothed out. I'm going to save the little piece. See that? See how coarse and rough it is? And then how nice and smooth. And there's no crumbs, no pinholes. So what you use, naphtha. You brush it on. It takes a minute or two for it to soften the surface of the clay. And just with a paintbrush, you smooth all that stuff out. Make sure you're always moving in the flow direction of the hair with your paint strokes. And it takes about a minute for it to actually soften the clay up, so don't go and try to start brushing it out immediately. Okay, Time to make a mold. Cuts very easily with scissors. Make your divide. I want to put glass eyes in the final casting, so it's better not to have sculpted eyes in the mold. So I'll dig out those sculpted eyes and just leave a socket that will receive the glass eye in the casting. I'm able to remove my support before I add the rubber, and I can patch that little bit of clay. I also spray a nice sealer on, that's crystal clear. And lay out my rubber and pour the first coat on. I do a total of 3 coats. It's just the first right there. And then after 3, I trim off and make a nice edge to where the rubber terminates. That helps it key into the jacket better. I put a coat of wax on the rubber and the flange. Okay, we got some thickened epoxy, and what we're going to do is apply it to all this. Trying to fill in this notch so the glass lays down, and you don't get an air bubble all along here. I'm laying dry fiberglass into the thickened epoxy. I get the whole thing covered with fiberglass, and then I pour my regular epoxy resin and saturate the entire piece. Then I use some paint brushes and work that in and work out air bubbles. Once that has completely been done, cured, I can flip it over and repeat the process on the other side, starting with removing the support and patching the clay. Let me show you a little trick. I use upholstery foam just from a sofa cushion, and I chop it up into little pieces. I then saturate that foam with silicone, and then you can stuff that into big undercuts where your mold jacket would lock to the casting. That lets you make fewer mold pieces. Another trick I use is after the first coat of rubber has cured, I thicken the second coat with Capitol. That lets me build much faster. Here I am drilling all my bolt holes before I trim off the fiberglass. And now the mold is ready to open and prepare to make a casting. The original sculpture gets trashed in this process, but that's fine. I can make many more, and I'll just reuse the clay. The mold's turned out perfect. Everything looks great, so I'll proceed to brush in some resin. The resin's white and it's on white rubber, so you can't really see it very well, but you'll just have to trust me. We are actually working. After the first coat of resin sets up, I put in a second coat and then put the dry fiberglass in, and I wet it out and brush all the air bubbles out. And we close the mold, and now I'm taking exceptional care to make sure I get the head lined up right with the horns and the ears. I don't want to have to do this again.
So, before we take this out of the mold, here's the situation. The client did not want the base, the rock base. So I was going to put plywood inside and they could screw to it. So that's not going to happen. So what they want is to have metal rods coming out of the feet. Now we need to get these metal rods in the legs. They all need to be parallel. So that's what this is, hold them in place. Got some epoxy clay. I'll just pack this in around them and seal this off with clay right in here. That's what I'll do. And do all 4 feet. And I'm also going to seal this tube in. So after this epoxy sets up, we will pour some resin in this tube. We'll do four different batches. We'll pour some in, and then we'll tip the mold up in such a way that all the resin goes into one leg. We'll let that cure. It'll be some quick setting resin, and then we'll repeat the process for each leg. That will lock in all these rods.
Resin goes in, and then I reposition the mold so that the resin flows into one of the hooves, and then I redo that process 4 times. Once this is complete, I can take the casting out of the mold. Looks great. I think it's time to paint. Not so fast. I still have to do the eyes. That won't take very long though. I suppose I should mention what a ewe is for those of you that may not know. A ewe is a female sheep. You probably are familiar with the Bighorn ram. Well, that's the male, and this is a Bighorn female, a ewe. All done. The client came and picked this piece up along with a few other things, and this sheep took a ride out west on a big truck. Two years later, I fly out to Utah. It's always great to see the Rockies from an airplane. and it's beautiful, beautiful here. It was actually cool weather. It was only about 60 degrees, and it gets a lot warmer here in the summer, but it was quite nice when I visited. And there's my U. Looks really good in place. All the graphics and cabinets, the other models and artifacts, interactives, really turned out nice in this visitor center. It's really great to see a family spending time together and the children learning from these exhibits. That's really what this is all about. I did 3 of these 5 flip panels. Why they didn't have me do all 5 of them, I have no idea. The backgrounds would have matched, but I did the cricket, the snake, and this frog here. That's a canyon tree frog. I sculpted it and painted it. It's held up really well, considering that it's been handled by the public for 2 years. It doesn't have a scratch on it. I didn't do those 2. The snake I just purchased from a taxidermy supply catalog, and then I painted it. It was white. This cricket I did, it's a bas-relief sculpture. And yeah, everything is just holding up perfectly. I also sculpted this turkey vulture. I think it turned out really well too. All the elements in this visitor center turned out really nice. I'm really happy with all the work done in this place. The Park Service and everyone involved with this project did a spectacular job. If you ever get a chance, I suggest you visit Capitol Reef National Park and stop by the visitor center and take a look at what we did. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.